Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in training camp month. Actually, not really. Training camp doesn't start until October the 2nd, but we're close enough to training camp month that we're about to kick this thing off. We're going to talk about some key dates. Then we're going to get into storylines from training camp. So let's get it popping. I got my man Tony Crow in the building. Tony, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling, man?
What's good, Sim? Shout out to the chat. Your Blackest Time. Happy to be back on a Tuesday,
Yeah.
And like you said, training camp. Like less than 3 weeks away.
Yeah, man, right around the corner. You know what I'm saying? Like, we right here, right around the corner, less than 3 weeks away. I do want to remind everybody, we got those tickets for sale, Knicks versus Cavs, November the 1st. All right, and I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to get them cheaper anyplace else. They're $155 per ticket. I seen what opened up today, right? Knicks fans can start if you registered to be one of the early Knicks fans to buy tickets. You can buy tickets now from Ticketmaster, but you're going to pay $50 to $75 more, and maybe even you may pay $100 more. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you get those tickets now, ladies and gentlemen, because they're moving fast. They're almost done, to be honest with you. There's still some left, so make sure you get it now. There's a link in the top of your chat. There's also a link in the description of this video. All right? Yeah, you're not going to get them any place any cheaper. I got you. So make sure you get them joints right now. Anyway, training camp is opening up. You know what I mean? It's opening up. And I'm so glad because it's been a long summer of not a lot of Knicks news to talk about. But now we're here, September 27th. Just some key dates to look out for. September the 27th, camp opens for teams who are playing outside the NBA. All right. I'm sorry, outside of North America. Teams who are playing outside North America for preseason, camp opens for them. The Knicks are not one of those teams. All right. So we don't have to worry about that. You know, we had enough of Jalen Brunson and R.J. Barrett and Josh Hart playing outside of America. Didn't work too well outside of North America. Didn't work too well with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. You know what I mean? You know, but we're going to talk about USA basketball on Tony's show after this show. So make sure you check us there on Knicks and Bruises. We're going to break that down and talk about it a little bit. Walter Blackman, thank you, man. I appreciate you. He said he loves the podcast. I appreciate that, my brother. Thank you. October the 2nd is the first allowable date for all other veteran players. I guess I just have a quick question. Why is it that veterans are able to come back a day early? Is there a reason for that?
Maybe it's to incentivize them. I don't know. That's kind of weird. I would think you would give the veterans the extra day, the extra
day, right?
Yeah.
They might need it. I don't know. I guess it's a good question to ask. If we can get a vet to come in on the show, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we can ask them why they get to come back a day early, what the purpose behind that is. All right, and then on October the 3rd, training camp opens. October the 5th, NBA preseason games open, right? So that's, you know, I guess it opens early on October the 5th for those teams who are playing outside of North America, because the Knicks don't play until the 9th, right? So they get about 6 days of training camp before they actually start playing some preseason basketball. All right, October the 9th, the Knicks will play against the Boston Celtics. The Knicks played against the Celtics 3 times within the first month of the season, right?
You forgot October the 7th. Don't forget that.
October the 7th, right? October the 7th, while it's not an official New York Knicks date, it's our kickoff cookout, ladies and gentlemen, up in Coxsackie, New York. There's also a link in the description, and there's a link tagged to your YouTube chat where you can come join us as we kick off the season. You know what I mean? So we got a lot of things popping off in the next month or so. All right. But preseason begins for the Knicks on October the 9th. They play the Boston Celtics. Preseason ends on October the 20th. And then by October the 23rd, rosters for opening day must be set. All right. They must be set by October the 23rd. All the players that you're going to see on the Knicks roster today, they're not all going to be there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of questions about, the Knicks roster. Well, not a lot of questions, a few questions about the Knicks roster coming into the season. And we're going to break some of those down and talk about some of those things there. You know what I mean? But, Tony, just any thoughts real quick about these key dates? And the NBA, if you go on the NBA's website, there's more dates that have to do with teams who are playing outside of North America. They're going to start playing a little bit earlier, but these are key dates for the New York Knicks right now, right? October 23rd, that's the last day. That's when you got to have your roster set, and then the Knicks open up at the Garden versus the Celtics on October the 25th. Any thoughts about these dates here at all?
Oh, not really. I did want to add. I don't know the exact date. I think it's the day before the season starts. That's a key date for that Emmanuel Quickly extension as well. Not necessarily doing with preseason or anything, but definitely a key date to look out for.
That is a key date. October the 24th. Should have put that up there. October the 24th. That's the date that the Knicks have. That's the deadline for the Knicks to extend Emmanuel Quickly. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But the way we're going to do this, ladies and gentlemen, today is just kind of an overview of training camp, some of the storylines coming into training camp, and then throughout the next few weeks, we're going to be breaking down each position, talking about players at each position. We're going to talk about training camp battles. We're going to talk about Exhibit 10 and two-way contracts. We're going to talk about Emmanuel Quickly. We're going to talk about Evan Fournier. We're going to really break these things down in detail. Right now, we're just giving you an overview of training camp and some of the storylines to look at as we move into training camp. You know what I mean? Kevin Bergen said IQ's days are numbered in his opinion. They could be, man. And both, we'll give, me and Tony will both give some brief thoughts on each one of these topics as the show moves on. You know what I mean? But those are some key dates. Let's take a look at some of the Knicks roster coming into the season. All right, so let's take a look at the Knicks roster. Coming into the season, your projected starters, ladies and gentlemen, projected now. It could change. We're going to talk about that too. Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. Those are your projected starters. Your projected bench players, Emmanuel Quickly, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein, Jericho Sims. Situational players, Daquan Jeffries, Evan Fournier, Isaiah Roby, and Miles McBride. Okay? Right now, the Knicks have 14 players signed to contracts. There's one position left open. And the Knicks normally do that each season. They leave one position open so that there can be a battle for that. Who's going to take that spot? Then we have a number of Exhibit 10 and two-way contracts we're going to get into in just a little bit. Do I got everything right there as far as the Knicks' current roster, Tony?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. Looking at this roster, what we have now, how do you feel about it? And, of course, we're just doing, this is just right now. We're not going into super depth. We're going to have time to really break down and go into depth. But just what do you think about the Knicks roster right now? After USA basketball and all of that, what do you think about the Knicks roster right now?
I mean, essentially, the way it is now, with nothing changing, I feel like at the very least we're coming into the season where we can build off of last year. You
Hmm.
know, no big structural changes. I mean, the biggest change obvious is Obi swapped out and DiVincenzo swapped in.
Right.
So you know, and we talked about it a lot already, but his connections with Josh Hart, with Jalen Brunson, should allow him to fit in seamlessly. And his game and game style, gameplay, he's one of those guys as well that you could kind of pop in on any team. So I don't think that being him coming in, if anything, it should just fit seamlessly. Um, and then my biggest, if I think anything that's gonna change, I think I don't think Isaiah Roby ends up staying on the team.
Mm.
Um, I don't know if we didn't really get a lot of opportunity to see him for whatever reason, injury or otherwise. But yeah, I just have a feeling he might be the guy that if they looking to bring somebody else in, I know we got another spot, but if they need that space, he's probably the odd man out. I think
Right.
Jaquan Jeffries has shown a little bit more in his time in his stints.
Yeah. Isaiah Roby for me wasn't that impressive in training camp. I mean, the summer. There's just some things that I expected from Isaiah Roby, and I see some people mentioning Nathan Knight. Um, Nathan Knight is an Exhibit 10 contract. We're going to get to those Exhibit 10 contracts, or he might be a two-way. I have it listed here. We're going to get to that in a minute. But right now, these are, if you're talking about guys that are definitely going to be on the basketball team, this is who's there right now, right? But yeah, I agree. Isaiah Roby, I wasn't as impressed with Isaiah Roby. I was looking for Isaiah Roby to, you know, I don't know. I didn't want to see the exact numbers he gave us during summer league. Those are not the numbers I wanted to see. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the numbers that you give in summer league, as it relates to the NBA, are going to be, a third of what you give in summer league. You know what I mean? So I wanted to see for me to say that he's definitely going to be that backup power forward. I wanted to see Isaiah Roby give the team, in summer league 15-8, 17-8, something like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just wasn't as impressed with him.
And he didn't seem to have, like, he seems like he's skilled and he can
Hmm.
do a lot of things. He doesn't seem assertive. You know what I mean, or aggressive.
Right.
And I don't know. It's almost like I felt like he didn't try to seize the opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows more than us. You know what I mean, or as far as his position and whether he's a shoe in, but it didn't seem like he was fighting to make the team,
Right.
and that disappointed me.
Right. I mean, he is, I don't know exactly where his contract stands. I have to look it up a little bit more. I did know, now I forgot, but I know he's due to make like $2 million this year. All right. Now I think he still might be able to, be waived, and I don't know how much the contract is guaranteed. But I just don't see Isaiah Roby being. I don't know. He's not a shoe-in for that backup power forward position. I think Tom Thibodeau would probably go with Isaiah Hartenstein, and at the backup power forward with Jericho Sims as the center at the center spot. You know what I mean? Or say, hey, I'm just going to go with a 9-man rotation and put RJ out there or something like that. We're going to talk about that a little bit more as this show moves on. But of course, that's definitely one of the questions or storylines coming into training camp. You know what I'm saying? That backup power forward position. It's a big storyline coming into training camp. You know, DeQuan Jeffries. My thing about DeQuan Jeffries, as we're talking about guys that are situational, I don't know where he really fits. He plays defense. You know what I mean? I just don't know where he really fits though, as far as the team.
I think he's almost like somebody has to go down for him to even,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, get situational minutes. You know what I
Right.
mean, like at the end of the game type blowouts. Like I don't think he will even play in those situations
Right.
unless someone was out and he had to fill in for
Yeah.
3, 5, 7 minutes.
Right. Right. But this, ladies and gentlemen, are your current players who are under contract. Okay. And then we have the Exhibit 10 and two-way players. All right. So your Exhibit 10 players, Charlie Brown Jr., Dwayne Washington, you got Dimitro. All right. Your two-way players, Nathan Knight, Jalen Martin, and Dylan Windler. All right. So for those, some people may not be aware, but the Knicks actually waived Toppin, Obi's younger brother. They waived Toppin, and they signed Charlie Brown Jr. All right. Charlie Brown Jr. really did go to work in the summer league, man. No doubt about it. That kid went to work in summer league. So he clearly he impressed the Knicks enough to say, we want to bring you in the training camp. Right? What were your thoughts on Charlie Brown Jr.? And it's been a while, since July, but what were your thoughts on Charlie Brown Jr. in the summer league?
I mean, impressive. He was one of the Knicks that stood out for sure, along with Jalen Martin.
Jalen Martin.
Another guy that stood out, I think, in the summer for our squad. And if I had to, if I had to figure out what's gonna go on with these guys here, I would think Roby falls out.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan Knight goes into Roby's spot, and Charlie Brown moves into that two-way spot. Like that's the way I see it all panning out at the end of camp, potentially, because they obviously, this wasn't his first stint with us either, right? Charlie Brown, did we see him last year,
Was he? I don't
or
remember him.
is he a rookie?
He's not a
For some,
rookie. He's not a rookie. He's not a rookie. But I don't remember him being on the training camp roster. I don't remember him being on it.
for some reason, I recall watching him earlier than this summer. Maybe it was on another squad, or maybe it was against us last year or something. But yeah, I think he's a shoo-in to be within the organization in some way or form. Two-way. I don't know if he makes it all the way into the regular roster right now. I think, and then all of our two-way guys, I think they all intriguing in a sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they all have a good shot of, showing us something
Right.
eventually.
Right. And for those who are not really sure what an Exhibit 10 contract is, I'll break it down really quick. If you receive an Exhibit 10 contract with a particular team, it allows the team to participate in training camp. All right. That team controls the player's G League rights, and he's eligible to get $50,000 if he spends 60 or more days with the G League affiliate. All right. Those Exhibit 10 contracts can also be converted to two-way contracts. Right. You can also waive an Exhibit 10 player. All right. So when you sign that Exhibit 10 contract, it allows the team to kind of control the right to that player for a specific amount of time. All right. So it really does. It gives the team, the Knicks, a chance to take a good look at these players, decide whether or not they might fit the roster, or if it's someone they want to try to develop, or whatever it is. But that's what an Exhibit 10 contract is. The Organic Fanatics said Charlie Brown was with our Westchester Knicks. I remember over the summer doing a little bit more research into Charlie Brown, and he played with the Westchester Knicks, but I still don't believe he was with training camp last season, right? But he was with the Westchester Knicks. He might be at the point in his career where he's ready to, find a consistent spot on an NBA team from the way he played in Summer League. Like he played, like we talked about Isaiah Roby, not really playing like he needed to secure a spot. Charlie Brown played like he needed to secure a spot. You know what I mean? He was definitely the standout for the Knicks. Definitely the standout. Who else on this list are you really interested in learning more about, watching play? Do you think has a chance to make the actual roster? Again, Exhibit 10, Charlie Brown Jr., Dwayne Washington Jr., Dimitro. Two-way players, Nathan Knight, Jalen Martin, Dylan Windler.
All the two-way guys I think are intriguing, for different reasons. I think out of those three, it's got to be Knight and Windler having the best shot at making the team because of a need, you know what I mean, positional wise. But Martin, you know what I mean, like if a trade goes down, if somebody, I don't want Quickly move, but if Quickly is gone, you know what I mean, and we need somebody kind of to step up, fill in, I think he can be molded in that sense. But right now, I think we're too guard heavy for him to kind of have a shot.
Right.
Unless some changes be made. But Nathan Knight obviously could play some backup 4 minutes, you know what I mean? So we need the size, and the same with Windler. I think he could play the wing position, and we kind of need, and give some height. So I think those two guys, because of the need, have the better opportunities.
Yeah. Dylan Windler is 6'7", 196 pounds. He did play for Cleveland for a couple of years. He played for Cleveland last year, just 3 games. In 21-22, he played 50 games with Cleveland. And he proved to be a guy that can shoot the ball. You know what I mean? He can shoot the ball a little bit, and he would fit a position in need for the Knicks, right? If you want to slot him in at a wing position that could possibly play some 4, when you're playing in a smaller lineup, Dylan Windler could fit there. Then, of course, Nathan Knight, he might be the guy that has the biggest chance to land with the Knicks, right? One of these other guys, Charlie Brown, Dimitro, Dwayne Washington, they could end up moving into a two-way contract where someone like Nathan Knight could take that last roster spot, right? Because of the Knicks kind of need that backup power forward. I mean, how much of a chance do you really think? I mean, do you think the battle? And we're gonna break down all of these battles, but do you think the battle for that power forward spot? And I'm not even talking about just the straight up bench. To get into a situational spot right now, right? I mean, I guess there doesn't have to be a battle between Knight and Roby, because there's a position there. There's a spot available. But if you're really rounding out your roster, right? Do you add 2 guys that play that same position there in that situational lineup, or do you add a center because you're actually missing a center in that situational lineup, right? Do you bring in a center and then decide between Nathan Knight and Isaiah Roby? You know what I'm saying? Because in that situational lineup, Daquan Jeffries, Evan Fournier, Isaiah Roby, Miles McBride. Okay. I don't have them listed in order of position, but you would probably, Miles McBride would probably be the point guard, Daquan Jeffries at the 2, Evan Fournier at the 3, Isaiah Roby at the 4, and then you can maybe bring in Dimitro at the 5. Right? So now your lineup is a little bit more balanced. So does that power forward position really become a battle between Roby and Knight?
To me, that makes the most sense. Whether you're bringing in the center or you're trying to just leave that roster spot open, which the Knicks have done, in the past, I think that makes the most sense. Especially this training camp. I think one goes, one stays. In my opinion,
Yeah,
like that makes the most sense. And like I move Charlie Brown into a two-way spot, or move the center into a two-way spot. So they still have an opportunity if needed down the line. And then that roster spot still remains open for flexibility if a trade is made 2-for-1, whatever the case.
right.
Or wave player, somebody becomes available, whatever the case. So I think it absolutely is going to be the battle for the situational spot. You know what I mean? For Roby and Knight. And I think Knight has more potential to play small ball 5 in you know what I mean, in that sense. So than Roby does. You know what I mean? I think
Right.
he's played some backup center in the past as well.
Yeah.
So
He's 6'8". He would definitely be a small center. You know what I mean? I don't know what his shot blocking capabilities are, but Tom Thibodeau. You know what I mean? He wants to have a guy that can be out there and protect the rim. Would he play him at the center spot on occasion? Possibly, but I think Tom Thibodeau likes to have those guys that can, that can really defend the rim. So I don't know if he came in and he took that 15th roster spot, just looking at the lineup, you got Isaiah Roby and Nathan Knight who kind of around the same size. Maybe Roby's a little bit taller than Nathan Knight. I don't see him as a shot blocker though. I don't know if the Knicks. I don't know.
I only say that because Knight seems to be more of a post player, more capable in the post. I'll say
Right.
than Roby. And than what we've seen from Obi in the past. So I'm not saying like backup 4. I'm just saying like he could just. I could see him playing it for 2-3 whatever minutes, if need be.
Right. Yeah, so there's definitely going to be some good battles to watch during training camp when it comes to these Exhibit 10 and two-way contracts. So right now, the Knicks have 20 players set to come in the training camp. Right? When you look at the roster, the current players on the contract, and then you look at your Exhibit 10 and two-way contracts, the Knicks have 20 players. Now, these players can change as we get closer to training camp. We've seen it frequently with the Knicks, where they have a group of players, 1, 2. I mean, I don't know why I just said 1, 2. I don't know what I was thinking. They have a group of players, and then they waive 1 or 2 guys. Maybe that's what I was going to say. They waive a couple of guys, and then, they bring in some new players. The same way they just waived Obi's brother and brought in Charlie Brown Jr. You know what I mean? So this is not set. When we get to like the day before training camp begins, we're going to take a look back and give you any updates. You know what I mean? So this is an early look at training camp. Right? Before we move on to some big storylines to watch during training camp, anything else that you want to mention about the Exhibit 10s, the two-ways, or just the roster?
my question would be how much how much on court time do you think these guys have to prove themselves, or is it gonna be
That's a good
like
question.
traditional Tibbs? Like they really gotta show it in practice to even get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, can they make a team or make the decision based off of practice, off and limited actual game time experience? You know what I
I
mean? Because I
mean,
don't see them playing a lot. You know what I mean?
right.
He never plays them a lot. You know
No,
what I mean?
no.
So,
Especially with preseason now going down to 4 games,
hmm
right? These guys are not seeing court time at all. Not with Tibbs. They're not seeing court time. You know what I'm saying? Tibbs is like, I need to get my guys ready. I need to, we need to start building that chemistry. That's how Tibbs is. These guys ain't seeing no court time unless they really show out in practice. Right? If they're really getting it done in practice and they're making some of the Knicks, the guys that's on the roster, they're making them look bad, then maybe you see somebody hit the floor. But I don't see it. I don't see it. I think your regular rotation guys are going to get majority of those minutes. When it comes to the preseason games, he may not. They may not get crazy minutes. You might see him 25, 30 minutes, 25 minutes or something like that. And then, your bench and situational guys get those other minutes. But these training camp guys, I don't know. I don't see it. They might get a couple minutes.
and like I was saying before, like it only if you got to put an order in it, it's probably got to be Nathan Knight, Windler, then maybe Jalen Martin. You know what I mean? Who in the order of who might get some opportunity out there,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just off of like need more than anything
Yeah.
else. Not
Now, the only thing that I can say is if there's any movement or trades made, between now and training camp, then maybe one of these guys gets a look. One or two of these guys gets a real hard look. But if there's a trade made, the Knicks could possibly be bringing back a player or two that are already legitimate NBA players that are going to fill those roster spots. You know what I'm saying? Because the Knicks are in a situation now where they've really got to use the G League as a way to develop players because they're trying to add guys to the roster that's going to help them win now. Right? They're not bringing Jalen Martin up, to develop him on the regular squad. You got to develop in the G League. And then if you prove that you deserve to be in the NBA, they might consider you bringing them up. You know what I mean? Or any of the other two-way players or exhibiting players, whatever it is. So, that's kind of the situation where the Knicks are. They're looking to win now. So they want to add NBA-ready players. Right? NBA-ready players. Ernesto said Cameron Payne just got waived by the Spurs, mentioning him as a pickup. It's possible, but where? Where does he play? Where does he play? That's what I would ask. Where would you see him playing, Tony? Cameron Payne. I don't see where he would play on his team unless Emmanuel Quickly's traded.
exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nixon Knight said small forward. I don't know. I don't think so.
We small enough.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. Still Knicks fans, what's popping with you, my brother? How you feeling? Let's get into some storylines to watch during training camp. All right. First storyline, I think I mean, I don't know what's going to be first on people's minds, but here's the first storyline we're going to talk about now. Evan Fournier in camp. Is Evan Fournier, Tony, is Evan Fournier going to make it to training camp? Now, like I said, later on, we are going to really break down what his contract situation looks like, how it would impact the Knicks, and all of that kind of stuff. Right now, we're just kind of skimming through it. Do you think Evan Fournier makes it to training camp?
Man, I'm gonna say no.
Mm.
I
So you saying
I'm gonna say no.
within the next 3 weeks, you think he gets moved?
I think so.
Wow.
I think so.
I mean,
I think they figure it out. I think they figure out somehow, some way to move on from him.
honestly, I would prefer that they move on and not bring the storyline into camp. You know what I'm saying? I want the Knicks to just focus on basketball. I don't want to bring storylines in, like these type of storylines into camp.
I'm just basing it off how they've moved
Right,
so far. You know what I mean? Like
right.
any type of, like you just said, storyline or the potential uh distraction, they've been able to kind of get rid of it in a timely fashion.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So I that's why I'm saying I think they do, because that's been their MO. You know what I mean? Like they moved on from the camp situation. They moved on from Obi after the, you know what I mean, first chance they got after the
hmm
season. I can't see them not moving on from Fournier. I mean, if he's here, to me, that means he had no value. You know what I mean?
elsewhere.
Any type of, even like fair exchange. Nobody won this trade type. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
a lot of times you could find those type of moves where it's just a parallel move. You know what I mean? For both teams. You know what I mean? It doesn't move up or down for both teams. And if they can't figure that out, I mean, that means they just couldn't move him.
Yeah.
But I think he gets moved. I'm going on a limb, I guess.
Mm.
I think he gets moved.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's 3 weeks. A lot can happen in 3 weeks, right? A whole lot can happen in 3 weeks. Um, what if he doesn't? How do you see that playing out if he doesn't get moved before training camp? Do you think?
Um,
I don't think it's going to be a distraction. He seems like all right. I'm just gonna do what I need. I'm gonna handle my business, do what I need to do, and when the opportunity comes for me to either get on the court or go to another team, then I'm gonna be a pro and I'm gonna stand up and hoop. Um, do you think do you think it'll be a distraction though?
I think there will be attempts, by the types of questions that will be asked to stir up something. I think even though his comments came out, in France, I think he's smart enough to, number one, admit he was speaking out of frustration. So, you know what I mean? Like I think he's savvy enough to kind of nip it and not let it turn into something bigger. And he'll say the right things. I want to play, but I'm here for my teammates, such and such and such. But he'll get asked the tough questions. So I'm not worried about it blowing into something huge.
Mm-hmm.
But long term, I just think over the course of another full season, you know what I mean, the more opportunities he has to voice some frustration, it could end up being something by the end of the year. But
Yeah.
beginning of the year, I don't think it ends up being a bigger distraction.
Okay.
Honestly, I could see a world where he gets another shot just to, what I mean, whether it's boost the trade value, show, what I mean, whatever it is. I could see him playing 5-10 minutes, what I mean, more than just not sitting the whole game like most of last year.
Yeah. Hmm. I guess if it's off the bench, maybe I could see him playing some minutes off the bench. Definitely not as a starter. I don't see that at all. Um, if he comes into training camp and he's doing his thing, maybe Tom Thibodeau gives him a look. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like in Tom Thibodeau's mind, he's not on the team. You know what I mean? I feel like even with the front office, and their mind is like he's not on the team, and they're gonna move on and plan without him. That's what I think. But of course, if he came into training camp, they're not gonna unless they tell him to stay home,
Stay home. Yeah,
and
and
he
that's what I
agrees to
was gonna
stay
ask you.
home. Yeah, you know
Wouldn't that be more? What do you think would be better optically, or just in general? Like, what would be better if they don't plan on playing him, and don't and you like you said, if they have that mindset, like he's already off the team, whether it's through trade during the season or as the expiring coming into next season. Um, wouldn't it be better to just have him stay home and continue to try to find whatever situation down the road?
that would be for me. That would be ideal, right? Because I think it accomplishes two things. It allows probably more than two things. I think it allows um, the Knicks to go into training camp without just having this presence looming over the camp, right? With a player that probably doesn't want to be there, and the coaching staff, at least Tom Thibodeau, probably doesn't want him to be there. So I think you alleviate that altogether, and then I think it looks better for Evan Fournier, right? Because instead of just saying, "Oh, he's not good enough to get minutes," now it's more like, okay, Evan Fournier and the Knicks, they're just not working out, so they decided to amicably part ways, and so he's going to sit out until not that he's sitting out. They're not, he's not going to be with the team. He's going to stay in shape, doing what he does until a solution can be resolved. I think this now. I think this, if they do it that way, it even looks better for him last season because
Mm-hmm.
now it tells more the story saying, okay, it just didn't work with Evan Fournier. He didn't fit with what they were trying to do for whatever the reasons are. He didn't fit. So maybe it's not his play. It's more he didn't fit with the team. So they're parting ways. So I think that even looks better when it comes to moving him. So now they can say, listen, it's not his play. He can play ball. Him and Tom Thibodeau didn't work for whatever reasons, but maybe he can work with your team. Saying, however it goes. But I think it looks better than him being on the team and just sitting on the bench. Because now it looks like the dude can't hoop anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I agree in that sense. If they, that's why I say if he's there, if they allow him there, I think they should play him. You know what I mean, or give him a fair opportunity. So I
Yeah,
could see that happening. If they have no intention of playing him, I agree 100%. Don't
yeah,
don't let him even show up. You
right,
know what I mean? Like,
right.
and you guys figure it out. However, even if it's a buyout, you know what I mean? Now, like that's feasible.
Yeah,
If you know you're not playing him.
yeah. I think a buyout doesn't come until after trade deadline.
Okay.
That's what I think. I think the Knicks are gonna. I mean, that's $19 million they can use to trade. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? you
Well, no,
know,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So I don't think it comes until then. If it's gonna come to that, I think it comes then. But yeah, that's a big storyline coming into camp. Next storyline, the backup power forward. We just talked about it, right? How important, and we're gonna break down this battle in more depth later on. But how important is this backup power forward position in your mind?
Oh man. You know why it's important? Because of the starting power forward. Because he is, Randall is used, his usage rate is, you know, second on the team. His basically we can't afford. He becomes even more essential now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he's coming off this injury. Now we need him to be that Iron Man he's been because who fills in that? We're not even looking for somebody to fill in with his production
Mm-hmm.
in the second unit. But if he's not there, where does that leave us?
Right.
So I think it's bigger than we've really talked about. You know what I mean? As a whole, as a Knicks fans.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think it's definitely big because if and this is one of the reasons why I think you've seen some rumors about Taj Gibson. I think that's the reason why the Knicks don't want to bring in the unknown. I think they'd rather bring in the known. And Taj Gibson, he knows Tom Thibodeau. He knows what Tom Thibodeau wants. If Tom Thibodeau still believes that Taj Gibson can give you something in limited minutes, 12 minutes a game is probably perfect for Taj Gibson. You know what I'm saying? Then I think Tom Thibodeau would trust him. Are there better players out there? There might be. There might be better players out there who can give you a little bit more because if Julius Randle goes down, needs more surgery, needs to take some days off, who's really filling in? Are you bringing in Taj Gibson to fill in as the starter at this point in his career? I don't know. You
and
know what I
and
mean?
then size becomes even more important because we're talking about guys filling in the backup role who are going to be playing out of position essentially. You know what I mean? Whether it's RJ, who I don't think is a four now, but maybe by the end of his career. But Josh Hart, you know what I mean? Like all these guys who are gonna be pretty much undersized at that position,
Right.
like even in the current backup role. So, this is where, maybe a Nathan Knight even becomes more valuable just
Right.
because of that size. Um,
Right.
yeah, I think it's super important. And yeah, I was gonna mention Taj down the road as well because that makes sense. Not only familiar with Tibbs, but familiar with the team. You
Right.
know what I mean? For the most part.
Right.
So
Right. Right. I could see. I could see. Um, RJ Barrett. Let's say Julius Randle did go down. RJ Barrett maybe playing power forward. And they go a little smaller with maybe starting Emmanuel quickly. Right. At the two or Dante DiVincenzo. Quickly would probably be next up. To start. Um, and then so you go smaller there because RJ can play some power forward. That could also be a solution, but then you still got the issue, But then I mean, now you're even smaller. I mean, Julius Randle's 6'8", so it's not like he's towering over RJ Barrett, but his style is more bruising to be a power forward,
yeah,
right?
he got girth.
Yeah,
Where he lacks in height, he got
right,
in girth. So
right.
and,
I
and
mean,
strength.
why'd Melo have to retire? I mean,
Don't get me started, Tim.
isn't this a perfect
Don't get me
situation for
started,
Melo?
man. Don't get me started, bro.
Right? I mean, ain't this the perfect situation for Melo? If Melo
Don't
was
get
on
me
his team,
started.
does he accept 13 minutes at the backup power forward though?
I mean, if you was willing to retire, I think so. I think so.
I guess I
Uh,
guess
uh,
I guess
Unless you retire because you want to be either integral, you know what I mean,
mhm.
part, or you rather walk away. But I
I guess the thing would be, would Melo, knowing who Melo is, would Melo want to put in the work necessary for just 13 minutes a game? You dig
yeah,
what I'm saying?
and Tibbs ain't letting him. You know what I mean? Tibbs ain't letting him. You know what I mean? Take the back seat or just breeze through. You know what I mean? He's gonna want 100% effort in the practices, and you know what I mean. Like
Right.
so, I think that there's certain coaches in the league that might be like, all right, we're gonna bring you on. let you be that veteran. You know what I mean? Take your days off from practice. Tibbs ain't that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
that's what I'm
if he don't
saying.
see it in practice, you 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 won't get the 13 minutes. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right. Um, yeah. You see, Vaughn Allen said, "Hey, yo, Sim, they said I got to come off the bench." Right. I mean, I think at this point, Melo, you know what I'm saying, he gets it. You know what I mean, it seems like it would be the perfect situation for Melo, but I think he's done. You know what I mean? He's following his son's basketball career now. You know what I mean? But and I'm pretty sure, who knows? Leon Rose maybe even reached out to him to have that conversation. He was like, "Nah, I think that's it. I'm not coming back to play 12, 13 minutes a game."
Well, sir, I'll do you one better. He pulled the AI practice. We
You
talking
know
we
what I'm
talking
saying?
about practice?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Travie Trav said Melo always put in the work. No, I think Melo did. He be in shape. He put in the work. I just don't know if at this point in his career he's ready to put in the work to stay in shape for just 13 minutes. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't mind having him back to play that power forward position. I ain't gonna front. I think he'd be better than Isaiah Roby. Defensively, I don't know.
Here's what I'll say though. Here's what I'll say. Nixon's top 3 seed with 2 months left into the season. I could see them saying Melo, come join us for this playoff run. I could see that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like now you didn't have to go through the rigors of the whole 81 game season. Bring them in at that whatever that market is, that or is the rule that you had to start the season now? No, right? It's
No. What you mean that you have to start the season?
to be eligible for the playoffs.
I think you just got to be a free agent, and there's a certain time period.
Time frame.
There's a
Okay.
certain date that you got to sign by.
Whenever that date is, you know what I mean? Yeah, bring
Right.
them in for that.
Sometime,
I can
sometime in
see that.
March. Sometime in
I
March.
I can see that. I can see that happening for sure.
I mean, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. I ain't gonna get my hopes up, so I don't want to talk about it too much. You know what I'm saying? Because my hopes will start getting up. So, you know what I mean? I guess I'll let it rest there. Let it rest there. But that backup power forward position is definitely one of the storylines, bigger storylines coming into camp. Then you got the shooting guard spot, right? I think this is one of the position battles to look at. Right now, I have Quentin Grimes slotted in at that spot as the projected starter. Does it stay that way when you get in its training camp? Is my question. You know what I mean? Can Dante DiVincenzo become that starter, or maybe Emmanuel quickly? What do you think? Just we're gonna talk about position battles and stuff, but just off the cuff right now, what do you think?
Oh, I think I agree. I think the spot is Quentin Grimes to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he has to lose it. I don't think it's given to anyone else. Um, I guess it's gonna be interesting how good of a defensive player is DiVincenzo, because if his defense is as good as Grimes or Quickly's, then there's a argument for either one of Quickly and DiVincenzo to start over Grimes.
Right.
You know what I mean? With Grimes, my problem with Grimes is his lack of aggression. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of passive on the court, kind of wants to just fit in. I don't obviously that's not who Quickly is. He's gonna get his shots up and play his game regardless of what 4 people are on the court with him. And I think DiVincenzo he's probably more in between. You know what I mean? He's not gonna jack up shots, but he's gonna he's not going to turn down shots either. So I think this is, like you said, this the biggest competition in training camp.
Yeah.
Who starts, who back up, who, you know what I mean, who plays where. And shout out to Queen. I always mention this, but those lineups with quickly in it, it don't matter who the other four is. The defensive stats are good.
Yeah.
With quickly starting off the bench, mixed match. If he's on the court, the defense is better than when he's not.
Right. I mean, from what I know, Dante DiVincenzo is a decent defender. He's a good defender. You know what I mean? What I like about DiVincenzo and why I don't discount that he could be the starter at the shooting guard spot, I think he gets his shot off quicker than Grimes. Now, we haven't seen Grimes. I know he's been working, you know what I mean? So we haven't seen him, but just based off of last season, he gets his shot off quicker. I think right now, until I see Grimes this season, from what I know of, he might be a better shot creator, better ball handler than Quentin Grimes. I don't know if he's a better defender. So, I mean, I think there's an opportunity there. And I do think it's going to be a battle because I think there's an opportunity. I think he fits with that lineup better than Emmanuel Quickly because he doesn't need to have the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly can play off the ball too, and I think he actually plays well off the ball. But he's going to want to have his moments where he's creating off the dribble, and it's going to be more than DiVincenzo, more than Quentin Grimes. So that's why I think he fits in that lineup better than Emmanuel Quickly would fit in that lineup.
And if you're starting Quickly, that's my only knock as well. If you're starting Quickly at the 2, I'm more comfortable with the ball in Quickly's hand at the point as the backup than necessarily Grimes or DiVincenzo or even Deuce. You know what I mean? Just running that second unit.
Right.
Like we've seen Quickly run the second unit. So I agree with you. Fit wise, I think Quickly is able to be himself to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
Create, ball handle, whatever in that second unit. And DiVincenzo's that's why I say he's more in that middle of Quickly and Grimes. I mean, yeah, Quickly and Grimes and how he plays. Right. He could kind of just fit in, slide in that role. He don't got to. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think you're spot on.
Yeah, so that's going to be a storyline to watch. And then, lastly, that we're going to talk about today is, will the Knicks extend Emmanuel Quickly before October the 24th? Right? Of course, that's going to be a big storyline. Will they extend Emmanuel Quickly? I don't know. I don't know where they're going with it. I like Emmanuel Quickly. I want Quickly to be on the team. I understand he wants to be a starter in the NBA, right? But will they extend Emmanuel Quickly before the start of the NBA season?
That picture you put up looked like he got paid already.
You're right. It does. It does. I don't know. What do you think is going to happen, Tony? Do you think they extend Quickly before the season starts?
I'm going on a limb, and I'm going to say yes again. It's more of, I hope so, but I'm gonna just, if I got to pick one, I'm going to say they do it. They've been taking care of the guys throughout this regime's tenure, and the guys that that they weren't going to pay, they've been moving. So to me, I think if I'm just looking at their track record, then I say they do. They extend them. They figure it out.
What would be the benefit of extending him now before training camp, before the season begins, and waiting until the end of the season, or not even the end of the season, but letting them go to restricted free agency where you have the right to match?
Mm,
Because remember, if they extend him, now you got the whole poison pill going on, which makes it even
yeah,
harder to
yeah,
trade him if that's what's going to end up being the end result. It makes it harder to trade. Where if he goes to restricted free agency, I think now if he goes out and he actually wants to sign with another team, because they're going to let him start or whatever it is, now you can actually work out a sign and trade, all things being the way that they need to be for, salary cap purposes and all of that kind of stuff. Um,
to me, um, I mean, the main thing it would do is just get rid of all the questions, all the speculations for you know what I mean, for throughout the season.
right.
Because now it becomes a question all year long. There's nothing we can do about it, but it becomes a question all year long. Oh, are you keeping them? Or, you know what I mean? Are you trading them? You know what I mean? Like that. So to me, it kind of just takes that out of the way, that little hurdle. Maybe that's not that big or whatever the case, but I think that's one reason. One reason to do it. I think essentially, if you want to keep them,
Mhm.
that's the main reason. You know what I mean? Like, so now
If you want to
you
keep
you,
him, right,
you locking them up. You like the only reason to not do it to me is if you planning on moving him during the year. You know what I mean?
right,
And but to me, you doing that, it has to be a big trade. It's got to include Fournier. I've talked about it many times. You're not getting the true value for what you're, you know what I mean, at least on a 1-for-1, you're not going to get the value back um moving him at $2 million. Like,
right.
what are you getting back um that's going to give you the same value of
And and
Emmanuel quickly?
and and
So
that and that's the thing. If you're moving him now, you're moving him at like 4 million.
4 million. There
You know
you
what I
go.
mean? And are you going to get back that value in a player? The only way to really get that value back is by trading him and Evan Fournier and maybe another player. Right. So now you got three players, and Emmanuel quickly is the main player in that trade, but you're getting back someone that's giving you, the value that you might have paid Emmanuel quickly or something like that. You know what I mean? So it becomes that kind of a situation when it comes to trading him without signing him. But of course, if you trade him, if you sign him, eh, if you sign him to an extension, now the team that you're trading to, they've got to accept $15 million, while you're only sending out 4 or something like that. You know what I mean? Or,
And
or however it works out with his contract, whatever he's extended for. But they gotta pay more, or they gotta accept more. You know what I
accept
mean?
more.
They gotta accept
And
more. So it becomes a little bit more difficult to trade them. Not that it can't get done, but it just becomes more difficult to trade them.
and we talked about it, earlier off air. One of the reasons why I think he does it is that security. We was just talking about the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like, this is why players take that security. You know what I mean? Because you never know what could happen, and
Yeah,
at least you're under contract long term.
yeah,
And even with the superstars trending, they take that max, you know what I mean, and then they ask where they say where they want to go later.
right.
So I think that's kind of where it's trending, for get that money and secure your future first, and then everything else you could figure out
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah. I guess we'll see. Hopefully, his agent and the Knicks are communicating right now, talking right now. You know what I mean? Negotiating. To see what's going to be best for quickly. I think he's going to end up going to restricted free agency, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Any other storylines you think we should be watching during training camp?
I'm sorry, I'm thinking.
Yeah, nah, I get it. I
uh,
mean, I don't know if there's anything else. Obviously, actually, Julius Randle, you know, is he in shape? How's his You know, how's he after surgery? I guess that's one of those storylines. From what we've seen in videos and things like that, it looks like, you know, he's moving well on the ankle. He's back on the court. He should be fine coming into training camp. You know, how's Jalen Brunson and R.J. Barrett, Josh Hart, you know, after playing USA basketball? How are they? Right? You know, their bodies, we hope, you know, they should be in shape. Hopefully they're coming in, you know, Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson may be coming in a little bit depressed, while R.J. Barrett's got some bragging rights when they get into camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all year long they're gonna hear it.
All year.
All year long.
All year.
We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, no doubt. As a matter of fact, we're gonna talk about it in just a couple minutes, ladies and gentlemen, because we're heading over to Knicks and Bruises right now. You know what I mean? So come on over. We're gonna talk USA basketball. We'll probably, you know, if any other storylines pop up, we'll keep you updated on those storylines. The next show we're going to start breaking down these Exhibit 10 battles, Exhibit 10 and two-way battles, like really looking at the players, their history, and you know, showing some highlights and breaking down what these players are, what they can do, and their chances of making the team. We're going to break down each position. You know, point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. We're going to look at all the players, what we expect from them coming into training camp and all of those type of things. We'll look at the coaching staff. We'll keep you updated on any news coming out, because players, you know, stuff is going to start happening now as we're moving into training camp.
One more thing I want to add for, you know, some of these future shows, the dominoes that fall. You know what I mean? Like once maybe Lillard is moved, or even James Harden is moved, expect a lot of more movement throughout the league after that. You know what I mean? I'm sure. I see someone in the chat keeps mentioning Kelly Oubre, Travis Trav. The rumor is he's waiting on Lillard to go to Miami, and he's going to end up in Miami. So I think there's a lot of little moves like that are going to happen after those, you know, first two dominoes fall.
Yeah, no doubt. But ladies and gentlemen, we're heading over to Knicks and Bruises. Make sure you check us out. I do want to remind you, November 1st at Madison Square Garden, the Knicks versus the Cavs. It's a second night of a back-to-back. It's a home and away series. It's a playoff rematch. Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson. Come on, man. You got to be there with us. It's $155 per ticket. You're not going to beat it anywhere. You can check Ticketmaster. You can check SeatGeek. You can check all of those. You're not going to beat the price. So you might as well get your ticket now before they're sold out, ladies and gentlemen. There's a link pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. There's a link in the description of the video. Make sure you get them now before they're gone. Go check the prices. Go check the prices and then get back to me. You dig what I'm saying? Go check the prices. But be quick about it. You know what I mean? And then, of course, we got the kickoff cookout going on October the 7th. That's a Saturday. All right, we want you to be there. There's a link also in the description of the video, pinned to the top of your YouTube chat, where you can get your tickets to the kickoff cookout, ladies and gentlemen. We're up out of here. We appreciate you for your time. Come check us out on Knicks and Bruises right now.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim pass the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench.